Hello guys, and welcome back to the show. Today what I got for you is we're going to be talking about injury prevention and injuries related to our knee joint. So our knee joint has two motions. It can either go into flexion, where we bring the joint a lot closer to itself, or we go into extension. Flexion and extension. Now, when we look at the knee here, there's a lot of muscles involved here. So above our knee in front of us, if I'm looking at my thigh in a frontal plane, I'll see my knee joint here and my quadricep muscles all around it. Now, if my quadricep muscles get too tight or start pulling too much, it can move my patella joint here, right? So my patella joint is right in the middle of the bones that make my leg. Now, what we're looking for is we don't want one area to be pulling more so than the others. We want the muscles to work together so that patella joint is nice and snug in the middle where it needs to be. When we look at a side view here, so we have a lot of fascia here. All the red and dark areas are the muscles around in our side view here. We got our knee joint that's right in this area here. So all of this is fascia or soft tissue here that, same as our knee joint, can be pulled or tightened in different ways if we're overusing our muscles in certain ways. So I mentioned the quadricep muscles that are our thigh muscles right in front here. If we're using them too much, it can pull the knee joint in a bad direction. And the same thing goes if we're not using our glutes. So these are going to be our bum muscles here, our glutes in the back. If we're not using these guys to help out, then there's going to be a problem, right? We're going to be frontal plane dominant here versus posterior chain here. So we're going to look at that. What does this actually mean? And what we're going to try to avoid as much as possible is our patella joint here going out of alignment, being turned too much into the side. So that happens when our glutes are not doing their job and our femur, our bone of our leg, is being internally rotated. Or we could also have issues if we're flat-footed. So this is an issue that I struggle with because I got flat feet, and all this rotation here will cause issue to my knee. So I always like to say that the knee problems that we get through training are rarely the knee's fault. They're usually the fault of what's going on upstairs or what's going on downstairs. So if I look at my movement here, my quadriceps help me get back up, or they sustain me in this position here. Now, another big muscle that does that job is our glute muscles right in back. However, if my knee joints tend to rotate more inside here, and I'm bending and I'm lifting, or I'm playing in this area here, so where my knee comes within the limits of my big toe, I am not using my glutes. I'm not externally rotating to protect myself. I'm here and all the load is on my quadricep muscles. If I torque it to the side, then that action is done by my glute muscles, which means that my quadricep muscles aren't working as hard. It will still be hard work that's going on, but the fact that my quadriceps are not working as hard means that my patella bone is not being pulled out of its reach. Everything is being sustained. I'm using my muscles. The back side, my posterior chain, is helping my front side, and it's not front dominant. So that's something to think about when we're looking at the knee. Is it an issue with the hips that the knees are going in, or is it perhaps the feet? Now, I've already mentioned that I'm flat-footed, so the fact that I will walk more in a pronated way with my feet has my feet rolling inside, and that roll inside will also make the knees go inside as well. So another way to protect that is to try and work that arch, to fix it by pushing my toes to the ground and making sure that my hips are also working. For me, it's a lot of hard work to do something like that, but it does pay off because when I'm jumping, when I'm doing my movements, my knees always remain where they need to be. They never go inside to feel that stress. Another common thing that will cause injuries in our knees when we're playing capoeira is when we're bending more than 90 degrees. So our knees here, if you do have an injury to your knees, I would say try not to go lower than a 90-degree bend, something like this. Going beyond puts a lot of strain on your knee joint, on that patella. Now, a lot of things have us go into that deep knee bend, so try to avoid it as much as possible if you have already a lot of pain. If you don't have any pain and you can sustain going into these deep negativa positions here where we're way more than our 90 degrees, try to place the weight on your hand so that you don't sustain too much weight on that knee. All right, so those are my tips for today. I hope it helps you understand a little bit more how the knee joint works and where to really make a difference. Always try to think of alignment if everything is okay. I've mentioned that in a previous video. I will put the link. This is a bit of a continuation with that. If you have any questions, any comments or suggestions, or maybe you have an injury and you want to know what that's about and what you can do, please let me know and I'll do a video about it explaining how you can better yourself and still work with that injury, play capoeira, and have lots of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next show.